Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Here Be Dragons. I am your host, Wednesday. I can't keep doing it. Hi, welcome back to Here Be Dragons, everyone. I am Steven. Joining me this week are Nessie. Nessie, tell us about your costume.
Well,
You're
I
doing a mighty good thing impression there.
I'm just here to lend a hand, Stephen. Just trying to make everything easier for everyone. Um, yeah, I'm the thing. It's it wasn't. I'm trying to work with this green suit, guys. So I may be a disembodied head at sometimes. I may be a ghostly figure in the background. I would like to be able to see to engage with you guys. So pay no attention to the shadowy form.
Right. You're doing a pretty good thing, though.
Um,
I approve. You're doing a good thing.
thank you. Thank you very much.
And of course, welcome back, John. How you doing, buddy?
Good. How are you guys doing?
I'm fantastic. Tell us about your costume.
Yeah, this is my costume. I'm a homicidal maniac. They look just like
I look
everyone
like
else.
everyone else.
Can I just say, snaps for that? And of course, I'm doing Wednesday. I have wanted to do a Wednesday costume for a long, long time, and this was the perfect excuse. So yeah, if you haven't guessed, we're talking about the Addams family, specifically the 1991 The Addams Family, starring Angelica Houston, Raul Julia, Christina Ricci, Christopher Lloyd. Who else is in it, John? There's a
Some people I really liked, but who I can't remember the name of it at this exact moment. I'm looking them up so I can give them to
the
do
hand puns
props.
have already started.
Oh yeah, Dan Hedaya. He's been in a lot of other films as the as
Yeah,
Tully's the accountant.
Hmm.
which is funny because I think this may have been the first thing that I saw him in, but obviously other people knew him for years from
Mhm.
Cheers,
Yeah,
which he makes that
Carla's
character on.
husband.
Yeah, Carla's husband makes Tully look like a really great guy.
Hmm.
Hmm. Yeah, and we got a cameo from Sally Jesse Raphael
Yeah,
from.
that's true.
Yeah.
So we had a watch party of this last night, and quite a few people who are here in the chat were there at the watch party last night too. We had a great time. I've got my headless doll too. Got to make sure I show that off. It came with the costume, so Marie Antoinette. But yeah, this movie. Okay, so the original Addams Family was a cartoon, like single page comic,
Mhm.
and they were very morbid type of family. Then we had this 1960s TV show,
Yeah,
which made them a lot sillier,
but the
but it
snap was
also
developed.
it also brought them into the cultural zeitgeist.
Yes.
And then this movie came out, and it took the characters that people were familiar with from this campy 60s TV show, and it made a modern but still campy but much closer to the comics adaptation of this family. And to me, this is the definitive version of the Addams Family. Am I right? Am I wrong? Feel free to disagree with me.
Well, I
Well,
think this was the generational Addams. Those of us who remember it from the television, from the small screen in black and white, had a lot of nostalgia going into it, and it bridges very nicely into the modern era. So I was able to watch it with my kids. I was able to watch it with my parents. It's all about family, and it is when people say the Adams family now, I think this is what everyone is talking about.
Yeah.
yeah, for me, it's interesting because aside from maybe a couple quick clips I've seen on like specials and stuff. I don't know that I've ever actually watched the original Addams Family TV show. And so for me, this has always been the Addams Family, which is weird because you grow up, or at least from my generation, I grew up knowing like the theme song to the Addams Family, even if I hadn't seen the original show. And so it was always part of pop culture for me.
Mhm.
And so with this movie, yeah, this is the quintessential Addams Family. I'll never not think of Raul Julia as Gomez and Angelica Houston as Tish.
Right.
And all the other characters. I mean, Christopher Lloyd. That was funny as a kid, knowing Christopher Lloyd
From Back to the Future.
Brown, and
Yeah.
then all of a sudden he's playing this character. It's
Mhm.
it was
Which is
great.
so wildly different. And we can get into each of the characters, but one of the things, and I just, we're going to have fun with this. There's no outline or whatever. We're just going to talk about what we liked. And if you've got a criticism, feel free to throw that in. But one of the things that I really enjoyed is just the story, no matter what's happening, assumes that Pugsley is invulnerable, indestructible, immortal.
Well, he has no one but his sister to thank for that,
Right.
because
And I
she's been
think
training him for years.
And I think that's excellent training for Wednesday to become the one who is how many ways has she tried to murder her brother? Which means how many ways does she know to murder you?
Yeah. It's funny because we almost take it for granted that I think for most people, when they think of Christina Ricci, this is what they think of. And it's easy to take for granted how fantastic she is in the part. We were watching it last night, and just the part where she's electrocuting Pugsley.
Right.
And the way her eyes, light up in this demented, joy / intrigue. And, it's just like, I couldn't stop laughing. She is fantastic and very scary.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's also a generational theme in the Addams Family. They take sibling rivalry to like the extremes of it. Like if you're not trying to kill your baby brother, what are you doing with your life?
Here's the
You
thing.
must not care.
I actually don't think they take sibling rivalry to the extreme. I think they have extreme personalities, and they're each other's best friend.
Yeah.
Oh, that too.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a rivalry, because when the family is at threat, everything else takes a back seat, and they will work together.
Well, and if we take it,
maybe rivalry was a strong word, but the Addams brothers would try to get one over on each other all the time. So the Addams Youngers is just carrying on the tradition of what brothers and sisters do.
I what Guilty is saying here, like, we can just assume that Pugsley is never actually in any danger, because
right,
apparently he is invulnerable. So it's all in good fun.
We're gonna play a game called "Is There a God?"
God? What a line too! And the delivery again, Chris. It cannot be overstated, because she's so understated through most of this movie. How great she's pulling off this character.
Although, who else, speaking of understated, like, who else, like, I came away with so much appreciation for on this viewing is the actor who plays Lurch.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, he's always kind of in the background and never really taking, the limelight at all. And he's just like, the director said something about a lot of the actors in this movie, that they're not playing anything for laughs. It's like everything is so completely played straight.
Yeah, both of the people who are normals and for the family themselves. Like, it's like a fish out of water that doesn't realize it's a fish out of water.
Yeah, exactly.
Or doesn't care that it's a fish out of water, might be more accurate.
Yeah.
So, I think that maybe it's they think, everyone else is wrong. Everyone else is different or disturbed or what have you. When we go to the scene where they're at the school and Morticia is talking to Wednesday's teachers, and it's like they're showing in the artwork.
Sorry, I'm slow clapping for Kartik for a second.
Yes.
Sorry. Now
that she's showing Wednesday's pictures of Calpurnia Addams, someone she admires, and then comparing that to, I think it was the other little child's hero was Jane Polly. Have you talked to her mother? I was like, what's wrong with that child?
But it also tells you what Jane Polly, a name nobody under the age of 30 is even aware of.
Just side note, now that I see that Kartik is, after all, here for our stream, I just wanted to say, I knew you couldn't stay away, old man. No, the school scene is great, especially like when they're in the audience. The complete contempt on their faces for the ordinary, the
ordinary,
quote unquote normal kids.
So Kartik asked, did the golf balls off the roof inspire a similar scene in Fight Club? Maybe, but there have been other media that have done a similar thing before this.
That reminds me about the golf balls. I wanted to clarify because we were having a discussion during the watch party last night, and I think you threw out dated CGI. It's actually not CGI because there is no CGI in this film. It's certainly dated special, quote unquote, special effects. But
really, the golf ball coming through the window isn't CG?
No, because this was the director himself said there's no CGI in the movie.
That's almost mind-blowing because it looks like bad CGI. Like it's the only shot in the movie that does, but it looks like bad CGI. I wonder what it is. Just a normal camera shot, in-camera shot?
I mean, just because it's not CGI doesn't mean that there's not some kind of special effect employed. That's,
right.
There's been special effects going, back since the dawn of movies. And you can see that it's dated, but I've just found it interesting that this is, there was certainly CGI, like primitive CGI in movies before this, but it was a very rare occurrence. It didn't become sort of more a more normal practice until a couple of years after this. But it is nice to go back to a movie that doesn't, use computer imagery.
Yeah, apparently I said that was Kartik's question, but it was actually Guilty Undertaker's question. Thank you. I'm a little rusty. We haven't done this enough lately. I'm a little rusty. Don't worry, we're coming back strong. But and also I agree with Blue Lemons here. She says, shout out to Margaret, who's the former normie that realized she was an honorary Addams. Cousin It awakened something in her. I love that minor character got her whole arc in this movie too, and it was great. And there was time for it. We didn't see the whole thing, but we saw the beginning, the middle, and the end. It was a real nice one.
I just hope she stops putting her fingers in that little, trap. I mean, like the first time, it's like, why would you put your fingers in there? But then she does it again a second time. It's like, no, that one's on you.
Tricked into it by Tully.
It's curiosity, curiosity with the obscure.
Yeah.
She couldn't help herself. She was always strangely drawn toward it.
But also, like,
I'm sorry, I was reading the chat. Go ahead, John.
Yeah.
Also, like, something very important that we have to mention is you know, just the superb work on dialects in this movie.
Oh, you mean like
Oh,
the
Dr.
vocal
Pinderschloss.
coaching that everybody went through? Yeah, it was amazing. You're not wrong. Cece says that she just realized that part one is about fake Uncle Webster. Right, it is. But real talk, did any of us ever do the Mamushka dance? I did not, but it looks like it would be fun if you knew all the steps. Like
I did not.
What's one of those dances that really can only happen in a movie? I always think of like, you ever seen the movie Top Secret with Val Kilmer? I mean baby Val Kilmer, like 22 or 23 years old.
I'm sure I did once upon a time.
It's a ridiculous World War II war movie spoof. Think a Mel Brooksian style movie. It might even be Mel Brooks. But there's a ridiculous dance scene. One of the dance moves is the lady goes like with her cheeks, and her dance partner goes to make that noise. It's fantastic. The Mamushka has some of those similar vibes going because they're like slapping each other and throwing knives at each other. It's great fun.
Yeah, and that's kind of the point in the movie where it seems like the character of Chester starting to remember. You remember things because that is a very highly complicated choreographed dance that this family has been doing for generations, and he just steps in without thought, and where he would stumble on like a password or a secret code or what have you before, he just steps right in as though he's been doing this all of his life. Like muscle memory is a thing. So it's sort of like this is the point where he, I feel like, is remembering that he is an Addams, or he's returning to himself.
And you can see it immediately after. He's still dancing up the stairs and singing. And when Dr. Pinderschloss, his mother, whatever her real name is, mother or Dr. Pinderschloss.
I think it's
like,
Dr.
He's practically ignoring her too. Even when she's trying to get his attention, like she has to go all the way to slapping him.
I know. Like, snap out of it. It's almost as though he forgot that he wasn't.
But that's because he was his genuine self. Which, hey, we're all on that journey together right now, aren't we?
Right. Yeah, I do just want to say, like, the Mamushka was probably the big thing that I remembered from this movie for years and years without even revisiting it. And I remember it was a thing between me and my dad. He picks certain words he hears from stuff and loves to sort of just, belt them out occasionally. And the Mamushka was one of his big things.
I love it. I love it.
I like it. Yeah, it's great. And I forgot how many great little stupid one-liners. Not every joke I think really lands, but hello, Kate and Laura. Drive safe. I'm glad you're listening in.
Pay attention to the
wait, Kate and Laura on the road together? That's so strange.
I mean,
I played D&D with them Friday. They're in I played D&D with them Friday, and we all logged in, and I'm like, I guess we're just waiting for Laura to log in, and then Laura sits down next to Kate, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh, it's like that again. Okay.
Right.
Well, I mean, and you might be right, Stephen, but like, even if there's jokes that don't land, I still like sort of chuckle and shake my head. Like it's still all in great fun.
Cheesy goodness. They're supposed to be cheesy. They're supposed to be, kind of a bit groany in a way. Like, it's part of the camp and the nostalgia and the warm-hearted good feelings that this type of movie is supposed to bring to the table. So you can all do the collective together, you know?
The thing that I love that this movie does, and it's throughout, is that it's morbid and creepy and terrifying, but it laughs at it the whole time, which
Oh, yeah.
really robs it of being. It's not real. This is not a scary movie.
Not in the least. No.
Like this is probably PG. Well, maybe not. There's a curse word or two, and there's some pretty there's a scene where they're bidding on their own finger trap at the auction that devolves quickly, and so I'm not sure what the rating is on this, but
Wow.
That's wholesome, Stephen.
But it is not like I would be comfortable with an 8-year-old watching this movie, you know.
I mean, because honestly, Gomez and Morticia have the most wonderful, wholesome marriage. I think like they are relationship goals, and
they would. Here's the thing: they desperately love each other and would do anything for each other, and have no desire to take advantage of the fact that they know that the other would do anything for them, but they never take advantage of that fact.
Yeah.
Like they are, many people have said it, relationship goals, couples goals. There's a hashtag relationship goals right there. Yeah, I love the relationship between them. And really, the whole start of the movie is the cuckoo clock of Gomez kissing Morticia's cleavage, which I forgot that was in there, and I cried laughing when we started watching it last night.
Yep, I had forgotten about the first 5 minutes, I think, of the film. You know, the opening part. Not until we get to the golf ball scene, and
no, I mean, that whole intro with them. I would die for her. I would kill for her. I would die for her. Either way, what bliss.
I'm sorry. The chat is doing. We're having a lively chat. Thank you, Wheezy, for praising our costumes, and Kartik coming through. Let's not forget about not serial killer, homicidal maniac, John.
Yes, I want to make that distinction. It's very important to me.
Right. And really that we said about, like I said about Wednesday and Pugsley, it feels like they're best friends who understand each other. Like Wednesday knows she can't really kill Pugsley, so she gets to invent all these creative new ways
to just torture him.
And Pugsley's like, it doesn't hurt. Why not? I'm my sister's BFF.
This is fun.
Right.
And
she lets me chop the heads off of her dolls. This is great.
Right.
Wednesday, is that for your brother? Yes. No.
No.
And I will also say, so they have that relationship, and then the parents have that relationship, but even the generational relationships are just some of the most beautiful that you get to see in any medium. They're really the perfect family outside of the, out of context.
Right.
Yeah, this is the thing, and once again, I'm stealing stuff from the director of the film, but it's easy for people they look at the Addams family and say, oh, they're weird, what a dysfunctional family. But actually, they're the furthest thing from dysfunctional. They may be one of the most functional families you will ever see. And, in film or television, and even in real life, honestly.
Yeah, like Gomez Addams works out his he's so conflicted about the issues with his brother. He goes and plays with his model trains. You know, he's taking out all of his angst and his frustration. And
Oh my God, it was so dramatic.
like, oh no, dead
Everything
man's
in this
curve.
movie is so dramatic. Like Morticia, very understated. Gomez, very not understated. Like when, like at the end of the movie, when he comes into the room by doing a flip and crashing through the window and like sword in hand, I'm like, yeah,
Right. Of course he
of
does.
course. But
And I really do just want to take this moment to like, and pay respect to Raul Julia. I remember when
Oh
he
yeah.
passed away. I
Yeah.
remember because it was a whole thing with another movie which is not as good, but fun in a this is so bad it's fun, which was Street Fighter.
Yeah, you're gonna bring that movie up.
He died like as they were finishing up the movie. And you can, I hate to say it, but you can tell he's not looking super great, in the film, but he gives it his all. Like,
Sorry.
like, just side note, this is not a stream about that movie, but I do have to. My favorite Raul Julia line of all time is, for you, the day Bison graced your village was one of the most important days of your life. But for me, it was Tuesday.
It's a good line. It's a good line.
Yeah. So I love him so much. And so it's always a joy to go back, and watch his performances, especially as Gomez, taken way too soon.
Kartik has a good question. How does one marry into the Addams family? Do they have to be weird already, or do they get initiated? Like that's a good question, and I think we see a path to it in this very film, with Margaret and cousin Nick. Not that they're married, but like spoilers for the sequel of this film, which is 29 years old.
It's like 2 years later, I think they come back.
Yeah,
with
this was
Family Value.
91. That one is 93. So spoilers for that movie, but they do get married, and we do see another romantic interest or two in the film, and it seems like you got to be pretty weird to get one of their attention to begin with, and then maybe by proximity you get even weirder.
I think you just have to be open and accepting, not prejudge these people by, the standards of the society you grew up in, and just see them for the the warm-hearted family that they actually are. Because that person is offered, cousin It offers them something that they just aren't getting at home, which is like, attention and acceptance.
Well, would you want to be married to Tully?
No. Real talk, no.
Somebody raised an excellent point. Like, if Tully had been straight with him, like they could have been really great friends until he tried to screw them over. Even like if he knew every crooked bone in Tully's body, Gomez would love him until he tried to screw over his family.
Right.
Yeah, I always love that opening sword fight with them, because like it shows that like Tully has kind of gotten into this weird fun dynamic with Gomez, where you can and I think Gomez does actually consider him a friend, and
I like him.
Yeah. And so it's just kind of a shame that Tully was being underhanded, and and he doesn't respect them at all, because he even says, I've been their lawyer for years, they're morons. It's like, It's just a shame because, and we do hear from Morticia at the end where she says, Gomez loved you. And so, yeah, it's, I like, just sort of stepping back a second to what, you guys were saying about people sort of being welcomed into the Addams family, and just by proximity, you might kind of like give yourself over to their, for lack of a better term, quote unquote, weirdness. It's because it's a very extreme version of something that we're familiar with, where the Addams family are kind of, they're the outsiders, but to them, they're not outsiders. They're, and like you give them a chance and you find that it's actually a very warm, inviting family that they have. And
if they like you, like if they don't like you, I think they basically ignore you.
Yeah.
But if they do like you, they're going to accept you with open arms. And either one is fine. If you don't like me, ignore me. I'm fine with that. I do want to get to Kartik's question. There's a couple of things. Like we'll come back to your question in just a second, Kartik. But Plixie Plot says, when they were in third grade, Raul Julia had a live performance of 3 Edgar Allan Poe stories. They were terrified by the telltale heart. You are not wrong to be terrified of that story. It's great, and I would love to hear Raul Julia read Poe.
I'm actually really, really jealous that you got to see that.
Right, that's fantastic. And Kartik has a really good question. Which was the original weird one, Morticia or Gomez? He thinks Morticia because of her name. If you look at the people who are in the graveyard, whose names are all Addams, they are all weird.
Like Fester isn't a weird name.
And we hear stories about Gomez and Fester growing up, and they were pretty wild, weird kids. There's film evidence that we see in the movie.
Yes.
And I think Guilty Undertaker has nailed it. They were both weird.
Oh yes.
I don't think they would have.
You see
either one.
Yeah,
neither one of them would have accepted. Like, would have gone for somebody who wasn't like their brand of. We keep using the word weird. I feel.
Let's say
it's fine. It's a fine shorthand. We all understand that people are individuals, and they are weird, and it's fine. I like weird.
I think they did run in the same.
You know.
They did run in the same.
It all depends on how you want to use the word. Can I just say, I have discovered something about myself today. I am not a wig person. I'm gonna tough it out for this stream, but folks, I don't like having anything on my head.
Well, you look phenomenal.
It is totally worth it. Like, I feel fantastic. You guys should see. Like it's cute, and I could show a little leg, but I am not loving the wig.
Well, I mean, that just threw me off. Now I have to focus again.
Okay.
Feeling some thrills.
I know. I showed a little thigh, and it was too much for the internet to handle. Okay, so let's steer it back to a movie. We kind of shotgunned our approach to it so far. So, shall we let's talk about the plot of the film? This movie is.
I love that the plot is very
stupid.
There is a plot. I mean, allegedly there is a plot.
But it really is just an excuse.
Right.
For hijinks.
Right.
I mean, it's a great excuse to have a seance, to start the vibe off right. It's been 25 years tonight.
I don't even think I thought about how stupid the plot was when we did a watch party last year, but last night I was like, wow, this is like, the movie is great. Like I'm not, yeah, the movie is fantastic, but it's the premise on which it is built is so like ridiculous.
It's the trope of the lost heir, you know.
It's the prodigal son story, but like it's turned up to like the square root of -1. Okay, it's turned up to an irrational number. Math joke for you people out there who get that.
No.
It's
math is the horror.
It's fine. If you don't get it,
the Stevie lawyer is trying to get money to get him out of a bind, and then you have some more of his clients who, you know, one of which is, you know, just this scheming, manipulative, you know, woman with her, you know, with her very unusual, you know, son who just happens to look like, and obviously, you know, at the end we find out it is in fact Fester, but like he just looks so ridiculous.
With the hair or without?
With the hair. Fake out. Like it's so stupid. It's so stupid. But I actually think that is a feature, not a bug, for this particular movie. Like everything surrounding this family it feels supernatural and weird and like how lucky is this family? Not just like in the moment to moment. They're not dead. They're, you know, they're like throwing knives at each other and stuff, like, and nobody gets hurt ever. They're extremely lucky in that way. Also, they have this house and they're sitting on, I guess, gold doubloons, a mountain of gold doubloons. That clearly makes Tully's briefcase too heavy to carry.
Right. Doubloons? Yeah, like don't ask where these people got their money from. It's probably
they're colonizers.
You know.
But like we're gonna hand wave that for the purposes of this stupid movie.
No, there's none of that. They're the Addams family, and they have lots of gold. That's just the way it is.
Right. They specifically say doubloons, which means it's Spanish money. But Gomez is not Spanish. He's Italian.
It all makes perfect sense.
Yeah, because Addams is an Italian name.
I was about to say because Addams is such a quintessential Italian name. So,
in the TV show and the comic. Actually, in the comic, I don't know if Fester's relationship, he's just Uncle Fester, and I don't know if his familial relationship is defined beyond that. Mm-hmm. In the TV show, Uncle Fester is not technically an Addams because he's Morticia's brother. Mm-hmm. And then they changed that for the movie, which really gives the lost, you know, which lets them tell the lost brother story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like it, though. Maybe maybe his relationship being ambiguous is great. You know, he's just that weird, like some people, you know, the weird uncle that lives in the basement, you know, that does weird things, you know, or lives in the attic or lives on, you know, just the weird uncle that kind of hangs out there. Could be like even Grandmama's brother or what have you. Yeah.
But I really enjoyed the brother relationship in this, and you know, because he was always just the fun uncle before, like at least on the TV show. Real talk, I have seen a few of the comics, but not many. You know, I have seen more of the TV show, especially when I was a kid. You'd stay home from school sick, and the Addams Family would be on reruns and a block with the Munsters.
Of course.
And the Addams Family is the superior of the two. There, I said it. Come at me.
As Guilty Undertaker said, the Addams are the aristocratic version, and the Munsters are more blue collar.
And the monsters are like classic movie monsters, whereas
Right.
the Addams are more like undefined creepy.
Yes, they're not. They're a thing unto themselves.
And like, and this movie really turns the creep factor up. Like, real talk, the original Morticia, stunning woman, by the way. Just, I can't remember the actress's name, but stunning woman. And she did a great job embodying that character. But there's something about Angelica Houston's, like, she's almost deathly still in every scene. And she's also got the eye bar lighting. No matter what the rest of the lighting of the scene is, she's got the bar of light across her eyes. It's so over dramatic. I love it.
And can I just say
detail, but to do it like the only time you won't see it is maybe like when she's dancing with Gomez.
Yeah, can I just say, like, I love that, and of course you can get away with that, some more, some lighting choices like that because the movie is so weird. But I just love that because it gives it definitely gives identity and personality to the character to have that. And yeah, I think that was actually, there's another story from the little featurette that I was watching about the movie where the director of this film, Barry Sonnenfeld, I think his name is, he came up as a cinematographer. So when he hired his cinematographer for this movie, like he said, I must stay out of your way, but I just have like, 3 things I want from you. And one of those things was the lighting.
Yeah. Well, it's so good. It's so effective for her character. And when you see it, and like they do it when the lighting doesn't make sense for it. Because that is just Morticia causes shadows to collect around her face.
Well, and I feel kind of, people might say, well, this is a weird movie, so it makes sense for that kind of a choice. But also it's like, it goes back to, I forget who said it, but like, I think it might have been reference to like cameras or something, but it also worked for lighting. It's like, well, where's the lighting coming from? Same place as the music. Not everything has to be completely within the realm of what could you realistically do.
That's true. Like, really great movies will often do unexpected things with the lighting to elevate a scene. But it's just like when Lily Munster. Who is Lily Munster? Well, she's like a bride of Dracula, right?
Right.
But
Bride of Frankenstein.
But who is Morticia? Is she a vampire? Is she a necromancer? Is she a sorceress? Is she a witch? Like, is she somewhere in between those things? Is she a succubus?
She had private tutors.
I don't know what she is, but I just want to say, I'll just say this once and then move on. When I was a kid, I had a certain perspective watching this movie. As an adult, I feel different things from Morticia Addams when I was a kid.
Yes.
Yes. Morticia had private tutors.
Joan Cusack is not in the movie we're talking about today. She's in the sequel, but she is so good in that part. We should talk about that movie probably soon,
Yeah.
Just to pair it with this one. We'll probably talk about the sequel pretty soon. It's a good, fun movie in its own right. And it has a Thanksgiving theme, so maybe we'll throw it at the end of November.
Oh my God,
there is unexplainedly a Thanksgiving-themed summer camp presentation.
Oh God, it's so good.
Yeah.
It's been even longer since I've seen that one. So I definitely need to revisit it.
Because it's
and
good enough to really deserve its own talk too. But yeah, back to the original, and yeah, Lady Starfall. You can basically just maybe the Sunday after Thanksgiving, American Thanksgiving. We'll. You want to just put it on the schedule now? Let's do it.
Sure, it's on the schedule.
There, it's done.
Also, and I think, speaking of the second one, because I think she's in that as well, but a really quick blink and you'll miss her cameo in this movie is Mercedes McNabb,
From
who
Buffy the
is
Vampire Slayer.
Harmony from Buffy. Yeah, she's the Girl Scout.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, real Girl Scouts.
She has a full-on supporting role in the second film.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
But yeah, even her little bit of screen time here is really fun.
I was like, I know that face. It's always great going back to watch movies that I haven't seen since I was a kid and then recognizing faces out of nowhere.
Oh yeah, it's a fun game. It's a fun game. I love to play that with folks.
I also like, sometimes you'll go back and you'll watch and you'll be like, oh, this person was so good. Whatever happened to them?
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know that really happened in this film, per se. This,
I don't know. Whatever
okay, real talk.
Pugsley Addams.
I'm sorry, what's that, Nessie?
I said, so whatever happened to Pugsley Addams?
Right. I mean, like...
Well, interesting thing about Pugsley is that actor was actually the brother of a girl who auditioned for Wednesday Addams, and she didn't get the part.
Right.
But she had mentioned, a lot of people say my brother looks like Pugsley, and I'm sure she might have regretted those words because I
mean, he at least got to do the thing, and she like Hollywood's cutthroat, man.
Yeah.
But
it's hard to be a child actor in Hollywood.
So, before this film, Christina Ricci was in Mermaids with Cher and oh God, the mom from Stranger Things.
Oh,
Winona Ryder. It's a good movie. You should watch it. She played the younger daughter, and then there was the older daughter, and then Cher was the mom. And it's a good movie. But this movie, I think, started making her career.
Right.
Yeah, I actually didn't know she had done something before this. So
it's her second film. But in the first film, she's playing, a child. In this film, she's playing Wednesday Addams, which is a whole. And the thing is, there's a huge swath of people, even beyond our generation, that know this movie from from when it came out, that know her as Wednesday. Period. That's it.
Right.
And
she's getting her own series soon.
Yeah. I'm aware. We'll talk about that before the end. But my kids know this movie. They were born 8-10 years after it came out, but they know this movie and love this movie, and this is their canonical Addams family.
Same.
Yeah. I mean,
my daughter loves Wednesday Addams. She too has dressed as Wednesday Addams for Halloween on several occasions.
Yeah. So, all right, we're almost to the midpoint. Let's talk about that Wednesday Addams show that's coming up. Is it on Netflix, I want to say?
I hope
not.
It looks like the Addams Family meets Harry Potter to me.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen a trailer or two for it, and I'm intrigued. I
kind of got like Sabrina the Teenage Witch vibes, like she's dealing with high school drama. Is that the vibe?
Yeah,
that
but
you're-
but it feels Harry Potterish, and like maybe there's something bigger going on.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I will say, oh, Tawny, thank you. It is on Netflix. But
Well, good luck,
Christina
guys.
Ricci is back in that show as a teacher at the school.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, I don't know. I'm looking forward to trying it out. It feels targeted to teenagers, but like there are shows targeted to 12-year-olds that I love.
Mm,
Star Wars, Avatar: The Last Airbender. Like
Yeah.
it's fine.
mhm.
I just hope that it's not stupid. It's got Fred Armisen as Uncle Fester, so that's interesting choice.
Yeah, yeah. We'll see. We'll see what this iteration brings out. They
Well, it just
redid they did the Addams Family as a animated movie, which was also pretty good, actually. Like
yeah,
last year.
I should give that a shot. It's what we've been talking about, how this is sort of the quintessential Adams family, especially for a certain generation. Like I've had trouble wrapping my head around giving another iteration of it a chance because this is so
Mhm,
firmly you know entrenched in my mind as the Adams
mhm,
family. So
mhm. This is just another chapter, another way, just another
Yeah,
chapter, another
and
continuation
and,
of the series.
and like the show is called Wednesday, so it is
mhm.
definitely focused on her. In one of the trailers, she references Pugsley. I don't think we ever see Pugsley, but their Gomez and Morticia, I think, is almost inspired. It's Catherine Zeta-Jones as
Mhm.
Morticia, which I mean, hey, you could do a lot worse. And then, oh God, what's his name? Luis Guzman
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
as
yeah.
Gomez. Not a
Mhm.
handsome man, but suave AF from what I've seen in the trailers. Oh
He
my
is
gosh. It's a big rock. There's a big rock behind you, Nessie.
Mm. Oh yeah. Hi.
Did it work?
Well, here I am. It
It,
worked pretty
it, it
well.
works better when you're not in the shot, Rock. I'm just saying.
I mean,
It just kind of disappeared, but yeah.
I mean, a rock and a hand.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. We base our relationship on Gomez and Morticia, right?
It'd pretty much be.
Tawny, go to the Slack, click on the Law of Surprise channel, and share your thoughts. There's already
Yes,
a conversation
that
going on there.
is. I think there's a few of us who are distraught.
Well, I'm happy to continue that conversation with you there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Witcher stuff. I'm not enthused about it either. So should we just go ahead and take our mid roll then? Seems as good a spot in the city.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, great. Hi everyone. It's me, Steven. Thank you for joining us here at Here Dragons this week. I would really, really love it if you would hit the like button and subscribe if you're not subscribed. I appreciate it a great deal. Coming up next week, my intention is to talk about the hottest of all the Ds that we've had this year. We didn't talk about the show at all during its run. We let everybody who specializes in that show do their specialty coverage. And now that it's run its course, it's our turn to let Nessie, I assume you're not going to be here for that next week. So it'll be me and John, and maybe we'll scrape up a guest or two to share their thoughts about the whole season of House of the Dragon. There is something on the schedule after that. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but we've got good stuff coming up. As we said, this Wednesday Addams show is coming up. There is an Amazon Prime Willow show that is coming up at the end of November that I'm really looking forward to. I'm a big fan of the original film. What else is out there? Oh, Andor.
Andor.
Like
Yeah.
That show is good, y'all. That show is good.
Yeah.
We're probably going to wait till the end to cover the whole season, which almost feels like a shame. It's tough to time it any other way at this point. But Andor, yes. So yeah, we've got stuff coming up, and yeah, I got to make sure I shout out our patrons because those guys are so helpful. They keep the lights on here. Basically, they don't have to pay for our streaming software, our Zoom software, all that stuff. So thank you, Patreons. Our Patreons, they're all dragons, of course, because here be dragons, but they include the Great Wyrms, Ridiculous Ed Tollett, and Bronsteris the Wise. And they are supported by our Elder Dragons, the Cloaked One of the Underworld, Ryan Stavka, the Russian Quartermaster, Reflective Rambling, Arch-Maester Emma, Kate, Mistress of the House of Books, Jared Kozal, Doctor of Dragons, Lady Maura Lee of Starfall, and Lady Rita, the Unbound. Thank you, patrons. We love you guys. John, Nessie, anything y'all want to catch us up with? Okay, so Nessie, you're not here next week.
I'm not here next week, no.
John, you're not here the week after that.
Yeah. Because, sorry to bring things down a bit, but the weekend after next, I will be going to Maryland for my mom's service.
Mhm.
We're having it at my aunt and uncle's home in Maryland, so I'll be doing that. And yeah, so sorry I won't be with you guys.
That's
We'll be
okay.
with you.
Fun times all around.
Right.
We'll be with you in spirit.
Yeah. Don't apologize for attending your parents' memorial service, John. I will hurt you if you do that again. Okay?
Yeah.
Don't. We love you,
Yeah.
buddy. We're gonna do something without you. We're gonna be there in spirit, unless you want to live stream it, in which case I will be there. I doubt you're gonna live stream your. Right.
I do not believe that would be appropriate. So
Yeah, exactly. So, let's just move on from this all too awkward conversation. Happy Halloween, everyone.
I do have to say, because I can't brainstorm this anywhere else. Nessie, you're familiar with Highlander, so I can pose this question to you. For years and years, when my mom and I were watching the series together, she had often said that she wanted Who Wants to Live Forever played at her funeral when the time comes. I think that will possibly make everybody extraordinarily depressed, but also it is something that we talked about. So
it's a beautiful song.
John, you want my opinion? I know the song you're talking about. It's Queen's song, Who Wants to Live Forever.
Yes.
It's a fantastic song.
Beautiful.
I think you play it. I think before you do, you say something telling everyone that she mentioned it time and again that she wanted this. So you make it clear that this is her wish, and then you do the thing.
Yeah, John, it's not about what everybody else wants. You know, it's not about what everybody else thinks. It's about you and your mom.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyway.
We love you, buddy. That's my take. Nessie, do you agree, disagree? Do you have a different take?
Oh, yeah. Hard agree on that.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
You're welcome.
And don't you dare apologize again.
and hey, this is in the middle of our podcast, but this is what we do. Should we talk about the movie again, or is there something else?
No, we can go back into the. Although this is incredibly random. I want to bring myself back up a bit. Okay. So I have someone here, which is This is a animated version
Of
of
Elizabeth Swann.
Elizabeth Swann,
Swann.
which I got at a toy store / comic book store in Orlando when I went to go visit Christina and Brian. I saw this and I was like, I am meant to have this.
Right. So the other
They did
day
just
when
like
that meme got posted and it was like, which one of these marginalia from a medieval book are you? And you were the skeleton enthused with their impulse purchase. And that's why I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys, if you don't, you know what that reminds me? We have this whole freaking sub narrative going on because Here Be Dragons is not a YouTube channel. Not really. Here Be Dragons is a friend group with a YouTube channel. If you've seen the people that are frequent guests, you'll know that we have a Slack group where people talk every day about every kind of subject. You really should come join us there. And if you want to do that, all you have to do is send me an email to we3dragons@gmail.com. We have one rule: don't be an asshole. Other than that, we have channels where we talk about gaming and D&D and you know, I referenced it just a minute ago. Tawny was talking about The Witcher. We have a channel for The Witcher, for A Song of Ice and Fire, for Star Wars, for Star Trek, for Lord of the Rings, cat stuff, like everything you could want. We have a meme channel. If you got a hot celebrity pick you want to post, we got a Thirsty Picks channel. Yeah, come join us.
Yes. We got a channel for everything, and if not, we can make one.
Right, I'll make you one. We got more than we need already.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, come join us there. It's a good time.
Yeah. We have a lot of fun.
Okay, now we can go back to the movie, which
Cool.
is really I started talking about it, the plot. The plot is stupid, and we kind of got off on a tangent about it being stupid, but I kind of did want to follow it for just a moment, right? And I want to do that through the character of Tully and Fester, right? Characters of Tully and Fester. Tully is sort of the audience member early in the film. We get to know the Addams family kind of through his lens, his interaction with them. And he's a crappy accountant, and he owes money to people. He owes an accountant who owes money to loan sharks. This is a bad situation to find yourself in.
Not a great look.
Not a great look. And then, but his only client he has left is incredibly wealthy, very eccentric family.
Mm-hmm.
The loan sharks show up to shake him down for their money, and he notices a resemblance to the guy's brother, and then they hold a fake seance to bring him back. And then he turns out to not be the brother, and then he turns out to be the brother, and then he turns out to not be the brother, and then he turns out to actually be the brother, but with amnesia, which was the cover story to begin with. So it's like it's the quadruple fake out by the time you get to the end, and it is the most ridiculous string of coincidences. The fact that, oh, you look like you could be Fester because you are Fester, but like the astronomical odds of the enforcer for the loan shark that shows up turns out to be exactly the guy you need, and in trying to use him for your ends to like screw this family out of their money, you end up reuniting them with their long lost prodigal son, which can only happen in a movie. And I think, as I said earlier, that is a feature of this plot. It's that everything is so far outside of the realm of probability that you have to just accept that all of it is possible.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, thank God it turns out that it really is Uncle Fester, because like it's ridiculous enough. But if that was just some guy who looked just like
plausibility went out the window when a disembodied hand showed up. Okay, and answered the phone. It went out the window. And I think they spent all of their special effects budget on that.
So yeah, Kartik asked us, who would you rather piss off, a loan shark or an Addams? Well, we don't need to dwell on this. Like a loan shark will only break my legs. An Addams will probably curse my bloodline.
I know we're talking about the plot of the movie, but Thing was mentioned, and I just want to bring up my complete joy at, obviously in some shots what's going on is it's a real hand and they're erasing, and other stuff. And then sometimes when Thing and Gomez are like communicating, it's just the actor sticking his hand through the table, right, and just doing that. It's so like back in the days of old, wonderful, simple special effects, and
right.
And it just filled me with so much joy.
Like, I think in the TV show, it just lived in a box, and it would like come out of the box and like answer the phone and things. It was just very, very simple and cheesy, but cool and different. Like, you didn't see that every day.
So Kartik has a good question. Do we know whose hand it was?
Yes. The actor's name is Christopher Hart, a Canadian actor and magician.
Magicians are very good with their hands. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
He could have been a hand actor.
My favorite scene was Morticia goes to deal with Tully and she gets kidnapped, and Thing comes to get the scene where he's trying to do sign language, and then he's freaking out and just throwing stuff off the table. I was laughing so hard. And then Morse code was really funny, but mid freak out for Thing was my favorite part this time around. I've seen this movie a lot of times, but just the exasperated throwing stuff in every direction off the table killed me, man. It killed me.
Yep, I loved it. Like, he flinged the cereal bowl out of the way. I was like, I
don't know why it struck me so hard this time, but it did. I'm just like, because Thing seems like he's so calm and cool and collected. Like, he'll grab the sword out of the air and then fly across the room and put it in a scabbard, or like haul ass down the hallway.
I mentioned this last night. It was so funny because in one shot, he grabs the sword, puts it away, and then like less than a second later, it changes scenes, and all of a sudden he's downstairs with Morticia, and I made the comment. I was like, man, Thing really gets around that mansion.
Yes, I remember that, and you're right, because like he's in two back-to-back scenes that are happening concurrently in different places,
but it all works.
It's fine.
Oh yeah, it all works.
It's like, I'm not going to complain that the disembodied hand got to another side of the house real quick. It's like, at a certain point, you just sound ridiculous saying this stuff, but no, it's all in good fun.
Yeah, you don't watch this movie for its airtight plot, lack of plot holes, or attention to continuity.
No.
I think there's probably continuity breaking things in this film that are intentionally breaking the continuity.
Yeah.
So, Kartik.
No, I'm not going there.
John's not going to go there with you. Not today. Not today. What else should we talk about? we've just again we've taken the shotgun approach. We've talked.
Well, because we've tried tackling the plot several times.
It's just so dumb. Like,
It's like
and you mention a funny thing, and then you go off on that funny thing. I'm going to eat a couple of chips.
Lumpy Adam. What a name!
Yeah, you just want to like talk about funny things in the movie. I love the whole school sequence, and like I had so much joy that I didn't have as a kid because I'm more knowledgeable about Shakespeare plays now, and just watching them up on stage do the thing, and then of course the blood spewing everywhere and the non-reaction of the whole audience just in complete horror, which just makes it funnier.
I think honestly that might be the scene that stuck with me most throughout the years. Is the Addams family taught me that the inside of the human body is filled with 140% pressurized blood. I loved that scene. Like, just again, this movie has some great, like, ugly face, stomach hurting, belly laugh type of moments. And to me, that's one of them. Because, again, everything is so turned up to 11.
Yeah.
Is it ridiculous? Yes. Oh, but not ridiculous enough.
I like that even though family members are departed, they're still part of the family, and they're still like involved in family activities. Like somebody mentioned earlier, like Wake the Dead is one of their favorite, I guess it's a Halloween tradition for them. I don't know, but let's go dig up our relatives. This is going to be fun. Let's go do that. They just hang out. So many emotional scenes are in their quote graveyard, but it's like these people, the departed members are still a part of their family.
Lady Starfall, I just want to address the thing that Lady Starfall is bringing up. In this film, Wednesday and Pugsley do like a Shakespearean one-act play, basically, where they're sword fighting and cut off each other's arms and spray blood all over the audience. In the second film, there is a like Thanksgiving play that is put on by the summer camp that the Addams kids are sent to. By the evil Debbie, the new au pair or nanny or whatever you want to call her. So there's stage performances by the Addams children in both films.
Well, it's like, why wouldn't you? No, and obviously there's, a whole part of that where Fester is involved with, them putting that on. And another one of my favorite moments involving him and the kids, and I don't know why it always stuck with me through the years, is just when they're looking through the book and stuff, and all of a sudden, scabs.
Ooh, and their eyes just light up like scabs.
Yeah, there's a lot of like that dynamic is just so much fun when they get there. Yeah. Another thing
I've been around, kid.
Like, I kind of want to save this thought for when we do the second movie in about a month. But I think Wednesday is a fantastic portrayal for the time period, like from a cultural zeitgeist kind of level, from a like, there's this idea that girls should always smile and be pretty. And some people are like, Wednesday never smiles. And I'm like, no, she does. She smiles when she's happy. When her and Pugsley are standing on the front lawn in the rain, holding an antenna up, trying to get themselves struck by lightning, she's got a big smile on her face. She's having a great time. When she throws the switch on the electric chair, she's got a big smile on her face. Like she's having a great time. But she doesn't do what society and none of them do what society expects of them.
Yeah.
Right. Tawny says she smiled when Pugsley was in the chair. Exactly. But she doesn't conform to what society expects from her, and that extends to her presentation of herself. She doesn't try to be desirable. Morticia doesn't try to be desirable; she just is.
Mm-hmm.
But I do appreciate that about she's not forcing a smile all the time.
No.
She's genuinely displaying her feelings. We talk about how healthy the family relationships are. Their mental health stuff is pretty healthy as well, I would say.
I know I think somebody mentioned in the chat last night, like, the Addams family are kind of designed to be like the polar opposite of the typical American family. And it's like, what does that say about the typical American family? And yeah, it's so strange to think you look at the Addams, the Addamses for like a healthy, example of, of what you
does
could
a healthy
be.
family look like? The opposite of a typical American family.
Yeah. But yeah, you just look at them, and if you take out it's obviously there's just so many morbid things, but the way they relate to each other, the way they think about themselves, and it's just it's downright aspirational.
Exactly.
Yeah, supportive and loving parents.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, like, they make a joke out of it every time, but when the parents correct the children respond to that correction as well, no matter ridiculous as it may be. Pass the salt. What do we say now? But mother has a problem. We correct. She's like, we're going to correct that problem. Okay, it's corrected, and no rolling the eyes from Wednesday or anything like that. Like, she's responsive to that. It happens when, is that for your brother? I don't think so. Take the big one. The closest she gets is begging to throw the switch on the electric chair, and it takes both her and Pugsley to convince.
Please.
But I also get the feeling that if Morticia had again at that point said no, that probably would have been the end of it too. Like, I just love the whole family dynamic, every relationship, parent and child, between siblings, between lovers. It's fantastic. Everything.
Well, because I think there's a mutual respect going on, and they're aware of it. So everybody in the family just, again, respects, if want to, if Morticia says no, it's not just for the hell of it, there's an actual reason, and the children respect that, and you don't see any of that going on in typical households.
No, you don't. But the implication being that the unsettling outside appearance versus the wholesome, loving, caring relationships, suggesting that the typical American family is the inverse of that. Cute, white fence, 2.2 kids, dog in the yard. But
and nobody's happy.
Right. Because you're not allowed to be gay, you're not allowed to wear pants if you're a girl. Again, this harkens back to the origins of those characters in like the 40s and 50s. Or maybe, I don't know, the Addams Family comics might have even been older than that.
Yeah, so it feels like the opposite of the Addams Family is the Draper family on Mad Men. It's like, from the outside they look like you're typical,
Everything
Like an
healthy,
advertisement for the
advertisement for family, and then on the inside, it's a horror show.
Yep.
Do you have a favorite line, favorite gag? Anybody in the chat also, feel free to chime in. Do you have a favorite line or gag from the film? I'm trying to think about what mine would be. Taker says he thinks that the Addams Family comics go back to the 30s. That could be true.
Yeah.
It's got to be coming back to the first scene with Gomez and Morticia. It's either the what bliss line, or it's the following one where Morticia's like, I'm paraphrasing, but Gomez, last night you were unhinged, you were like some beast, and then she says, do it again.
Yeah, and then the final for the trifecta would be when he comes in to save her, and she's on the rack and whatnot, and she says, "Maybe later." Yeah.
Oh, and there is also when Tully is tightening it, and she says, "You've done this before."
You've done this before. Yeah.
Mine probably happens somewhere around the electric chair scene. Just come sit in the chair. Let's play a game.
It's called "Is There a God?"
Is there a God? And then, we see them again later, and he's just happily sitting in the chair with the bowl thing on his head.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think the electric chair is probably my favorite gag.
Bye, Lady Starfall.
Yeah, I like the.
Good night, Lady Starfall.
Good night, Lady Starfall. Yeah, I like the interactions between the kids and Uncle Fester. I do like those quite a bit. Where he's helping them with their school project. That's a typical thing. Typical family thing. I really like that relationship a lot. And then the best part to me was when he's helping tuck Wednesday into bed, and she gives him the doll, Marie Antoinette, to kiss, and then here's her little head, kiss her too, and tuck that into bed. I think it's just so sweet,
Yeah, I don't think Wednesday quite steals this movie, but she tries really hard to.
She tries really, really hard.
She's going to steal the next one, though. We already know that. I really wish we had more Pugsley. Honestly, I feel like he is the character that gets the least due in both films, honestly. At least of the core family.
Yeah. I'd like to see a little more interaction between Gomez and the kids as well. I mean, you see Morticia, you see Fester, but you really don't see Gomez having a lot of interactions with the kids. So I would have liked to have seen a little more of that.
Yeah. I mean, there's only so much time in a movie.
Correct.
But yeah, I could have done with a little bit more of that.
Other highlights, just just pulling lines when Gomez is when they're doing the Mamushka, and I forget what the whole line is, but I think you commented on this last night, Stephen. Is singing, goes mommy and dadum, or something. It's absolute gold. Which, by the way, I went ahead and did take a look at the extended Mamushka scene today, which some people had a copy of that last night, and some of us had the theatrical version. I looked at the long version, and it's gold. I recommend, if you're able, taking a look at that. It was great because that was such a highlight of the movie from when I was a kid, and to just get a couple more minutes of that was was a lot of fun.
About 90 seconds more.
Mm-hmm.
I still haven't seen it. I'm just aware of it. I'll probably go watch it after this.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm not going to force this to the 2-hour mark. I already see our viewership is starting to fall off, and I've kind of covered everything. It's a lot of fun movie, though, don't you think?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it was fun.
Like, feel free to bring up anything else, but I'm not desperate to make it to another 30 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I actually wondered if this one might run a little shorter because, you know, there isn't much to, you know, we've established the fact that there isn't
the same way we do other stuff.
Yeah.
John, talk about the music.
Oh, the music is freaking fantastic. I was shocked that it wasn't Danny Elfman.
No, it was not Danny Elfman. Because I was even like, well, that is a very Elfman, you know, intro. And John's like, it's actually not Danny Elfman. I'm like, you're kidding.
Right. Yeah, it's Mark Scheinman, who's you know, a phenomenal composer in his own right. But the movie opens and you'd be forgiven for thinking at first glance that this is a Tim Burton movie too, because
You would. Like, it should be.
It's just got that feel all over it, but it's not.
Yeah. No, there's definitely some. It's sort of the same because it's the same director who did Men in Black, and there is a very similar style between him and Tim Burton. I actually think Danny Elfman did do the music for Men in Black. So
I have to do that movie one day too.
Yeah. God, I love that movie. But no, the music is great. And it's interesting that you only really get the classic Addams Family theme, you know, at the beginning when they're pouring the oil.
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, which is great. I love that so much. It's like, oh, we're opening a nice Christmas movie. Nope.
I completely forgotten the carolers scene, and I'm like, did I click the wrong button? Is this, you know, when I was watching that?
I got a couple of things to say about the music. A couple of things. One was the observation has been made that the Addams family, this Addams family specifically, canonically loves hip hop music.
Mm-hmm.
It shows up and he's blasting MC Hammer Too Legit to Quit. Early in the film, when we see the Addams, like Lurch driving the family car, they're blasting, I think, the Addams Family MC Hammer song. There's a few different times where Lurch walks up with the boombox when they're selling lemonade, and he's got some kind of hip hop. I don't remember the song, but yeah, the hip hop, correct.
Yes, the hip hop. The Addams family do like the hip hop.
They do enjoy the hip hop.
Guilty. I just want to answer your question real quick. No, The Mummy was done by somebody else. That was directed by Stephen Sommers, and the music is by Jerry Goldsmith. Because I'm an encyclopedia of knowledge. So.
But also, I made the Danny Elfman mistake. I heard it and I just assumed it was, and it's not. But I was also kind of jarred out of the movie on the slide because of the crazy freaking clown music.
Come and play with me. You're my tree.
And I'm just like, it was so disorienting that it kind of took me out of the movie.
That was Tim Burton-ish.
I mean, that was just
Beetlejuice stuff right there.
No, I actually love that because it was so like, what the hell? And it is like meant to be extremely disorienting to Fester, you know. So
right, Tony.
So, yeah.
This is a reference to an old thing I said that became a jokey meme among our friend group for a while. I did unintentionally refer to hip hop music as the hip hop, and immediately went, I sound like a 50-year-old. Like I said it, and so people trolled me with it for a long time. And then it died.
Yeah, but let's not like bury the lead. You actually said, I do enjoy the hip hop.
hop.
I
I did
enjoy
say
it.
that. I don't remember which, but it's on one of our old streams.
I still have it saved on my computer.
Oh, okay. Like you have a sound bite of I do enjoy the hip hop.
Yeah, that's never
Right.
going away.
It's
Oh,
it's
thank
good
you
to
so
know
much.
that I'll be remembered.
Forevermore.
No, and so anyway, talking about the music, I love it. I love especially Gomez and Morticia's love theme, and it's just so good because it plays in combination with them confessing their love to each other. I always like every time Gomez says "Cara mia," it's
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
it's so romantic, and
Mhm.
Which
It's like-
means my heart probably. But
Yeah.
I love how she refers to him as Mon Sauvage, my savage.
Oh yeah.
I love that.
She has
It's
a
so
few
good.
little pet names for him. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Kartik, you've been very patient. Favorite characters poll. In this movie, surprisingly enough, it's not Wednesday. I think it's probably Gomez in this film. In the next film, it's going to be Wednesday. But I think in this one, Gomez is my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else? What's your favorite character?
Tish.
I mean, it's hard to go wrong with Morticia.
Angelica Houston, man. She's just a dream in this movie.
yeah,
Didn't she
It's-
win an
it's-
Emmy, I think, for this?
well, it wouldn't have been an Emmy.
I mean,
Good.
she won a door prize of some kind for it, I think.
For me, it's like I'm having a really hard time like deciding
Golden
between.
Globe. She was nominated for a Golden Globe. Sorry.
Yeah,
Fair
it's down to Gomez or Morticia.
Okay.
I can't decide which one.
How
but-
can you separate the two?
Tawny is
Yeah.
right there with you. Like, don't get me wrong, Morticia's probably number 2. But like when you're this spoiled for choice, because Fester is the bester. That deserves some screen time, Kartik. Thank you for that.
But it is really interesting because when I was a kid, I absolutely would have said Fester. Because I mean,
I probably would have too.
and plus it's Christopher Lloyd, so automatically I'm like, how am I not going to vote for my man Doc Brown?
Right.
But it's interesting how you sort of change as you get older, and
Other folks.
and you start to appreciate different things and different characters, and so now I love Gomez just because well, like, he is incredibly gullible, and I find that
It's kind of endearing, isn't it?
and just I love his swashbuckling nature, and but part of what I love about him so much is the way he loves, respects, and treats Morticia, and so the two of them kind of blend together in that sense, and and I love Morticia just because because she feels like the sort of foundation of the family. I love the scene where she's walking through the graveyard with Fester, and
Walk with me, Fester.
yeah, it's it's like that veiled threat that like it's
Like he just flushed his way through the house again.
But you're not wrong. But I think sometimes it just comes down to like Morticia is that very understated in everything, and Gomez is turned up to 14 on everything.
Yeah.
And I think it's just like which one is a little more resonant for you. And Nessie, tell the people, does Steven sit still?
No.
No, he does not.
No.
Like
15
you don't
minutes.
see it, but like I'm off and I'm doing it right now, like bouncing my leg.
Yeah.
You know,
Steven has a lot of very restless energy.
I do. I have a lot restless energy. That's probably the best way to put it. So maybe that's where I identify with Gomez a little bit more.
Yeah. I can be very quiet and understated. But
And then of course I could be also being like, I don't want this to come off as what's the word I'm looking for?
Douchey.
No. Um, uh, my brain's freezing up right now.
Yeah.
And I don't know, but Morticia is very sultry.
He is.
And alluring. And so that might be part in it as well. I apologize.
It doesn't hurt.
But
here's
yeah,
the thing.
and
I
like
want to be Gomez. I mean, who wouldn't?
Yeah. But no, I love the both of them so much. You know, they are, that's what's so great about them, is that they are a full on team, and they, you know, that's such a respectful, you know, wonderful relationship that they have, and so it's always a joy to watch that.
yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to catch up on the chat.
Right, me too. I was just
Sorry, a little bit of dead air there. My apologies. What else do we need to say about this movie? Lurch. My man can slay on the keys. I'm telling you, do not overlook Lurch. He doesn't get a whole lot to do. Like, there's no arc with that character. He doesn't even really have much of a personality, but like solid in everything they asked that actor to do. His delivery of basically the zombie butler was so good. And I don't play the piano or the organ to know if he was not actually playing, but it was very convincing to my eye.
Well, yeah, it's, you know, it definitely what I was saying before. Like, I think that he may be the most, like, you know, not underappreciated, but like that's a role that you can very easily not think too hard about. You know, what a great job the actor does, because he's very much in the background, and you know, but he brings so much to that. You know, he doesn't really say anything, you know, but he's absolutely perfect.
Connie, I've got bad news for you. You have admitted it on the internet, and I have put it on screen. So it is there forever. The universe knows forever now. But yeah. Like, it's one of those things where you probably heard it for the first time when you were very young, and like you just never went back to thinking beyond the surface level of it. She was always just Morticia, probably before you knew what a mortician was.
Right. Yep. Like, I didn't know what a mortician was when I, you know, until I started reading a lot.
I want to thank you
guys,
for sharing this realization moment with us, Tawny. Thank
guys,
you.
just a minute.
I do enjoy the hip hop. I do enjoy the hip hop.
There you go.
Sorry, just wanted to make sure everybody got to share in that.
Right. What else, y'all? I mean, hey, we've almost made it to our 2-hour mark anyway. Is there anything else at all we should discuss?
Well, I like that there's a little setup for the second movie in the first movie. the excuse that what's his name, Tully uses when Fester takes over as the senior Addams and locks everybody out is, he's remembered everything, and the love triangle, and how Gomez stole the girls away from him, and then throwing his love affair with his wife in his face. That kind of all sets up the second movie where, as Fester gets a girlfriend or what have you. He has his own love affair. So he's looking for what Gomez and Tish have. So yeah, it's kind of a cute little breadcrumb setup for the second movie.
Yeah.
I
Because
do
who doesn't want that?
I do want to say, as an observation of, towards the end of this movie, when the Addams get kicked out of their home, I'm not being serious here because obviously we're not, looking to poke holes in the story. But I did find it humorous how there really are only so many chains,
Right?
that they need to try and pull on. It's like all you have to do is mark down which ones you've tried already.
Right?
It wouldn't have taken that long to get through them all.
Yeah, I'm with you. And it doesn't
yeah.
look like they're even marking them.
Yeah.
No, they're just randomly pulling them, and I'm like, you dumb. You dumb. You deserve what you get.
Yeah, exactly. It's like for Tully talking about how the Addamses are morons. It's like, Mr. Rocket Scientist over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys, I've run out of stuff to say. I'm sorry. I'm also like, this wig makes my head want to melt, and I hate it.
Well, we've made it pretty close.
We have. You know what?
Take the wig. I'm gonna
No. I'm gonna make it to the end of whatever we're doing. I am.
Okay.
All right.
I don't know what my hair looks like underneath this. I do have
I'll
a little
suffer
band
with
on
you.
going.
I'll suffer with you for a few minutes. Gosh, this screen is killing me.
Right.
See.
Oh,
See,
hi, Ed. We were probably literally about to sign off. We kind of talked about everything I could think of to talk about. But we had a good time. Thanks for hanging out with us, everyone. I hope you all have a great Halloween tomorrow. Come back next week with John and I and somebody guest. If you want that to be you, let me know. We'll consider all offers considered. But if we're going to be talking about House of the Dragon, the entire first season, and so join us next week for that.
And I'm going to be sobbing over Viserys, because oh my God, did
talk about scabs, man? Scabs.
Patty broke my heart, in episode 8, and I really hope he gets accolades for his performance as Viserys, because so good.
Dan, I would love it if you would join us on Zoom so you could tell me all about your Scooby-Doo D&D one shot.
Sounds like a lot of fun, man.
That does sound like a lot of fun, actually. But I think that's going to be it for us for tonight. A little bit shorter than normal, but we don't have deep themes to unpack or anything like that. But really, everyone who was here to join us in the chat live, thank you so much for doing that. If you're watching this later, thanks for doing that as well. And make sure to go ahead and hit that like and subscribe if you haven't yet. And we'll be back next week with some hot D coverage. So, John, thank you. Nessie, thank you. And we'll see every one of you out there listening next week. And until then, you know what it is. Peace. And be excellent to each other.
Bye, guys.